Man, I'll tell you that I don't know how to feel about this, and you let me know what you would do. So, John Daly, we love that guy. I mean, when he came on the scene, I just remember it. It was just a chaotic, crazy, awesome time of golf. Dude just was totally different than anybody else, and his kind of reckless style of play was entertaining to watch. He's obviously had a lot of demons on and off the golf course. And I remember one year I was in this fantasy golf league. You know, you pick players, whatever. And I picked John Daly on my team. And it was the only time I ever picked him like to win. And it was the last time he won at Torrey Pines. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I totally picked that guy. He had been playing kind of good, pretty good. And so I was like, man, he could play well at Torrey Pines. I grew up in San Diego and played that course 100 times. So I was like, he could actually do some damage here. He's there right now. His game's kind of there. And sure enough, he ended up winning. It was a little sketchy coming down the stretch, but he had like an awesome bunker shot on the 18th hole at Torrey Pines South and tapped in and walked away with the victory. So I love that. And then the next week, I think I saw him at Riviera, had him sign my program or something. It was cool. I was like, man, this guy, he's not that tall. He's not that big, but he crushes it. So I was just impressed. But anyways, I love that guy. It's the only kind of interaction I had with him over the years. And he's known for not working out, smoking, drinking, you name it. And now we kind of got a glimpse of him at Augusta this past Masters, and he was actually on property, and he walks by like he's like in his pajamas. It looked like he might have been staying somewhere on property or in his motorhome that he drives around or whatever, his bus. I'm not sure how he travels around these days, but we saw him. It looked like he was in like a onesie jammer, pajama zip-up. That's what it looked like. It was kind of off in the distance. So he just kind of caught a glimpse of him. It was just funny. I mean, you can't not see that guy, like not know who he is. But every year he spends time at Hooters at Augusta and signs autographs, meets players, and all that kind of good stuff. And so he's had a deal, some type of sponsorship deal with Hooters for years, right? And so that's kind of, look, those two brands just really mesh well together. So recently, this last year or so, the NCAA, they're in charge of all the college sports. They said you can have the NIL. Which is you can make money. It's called the NIL, and you can make money off your name, image, and likeness. So why not, right? The school that you compete for many times makes money off your name, image, and likeness, with football players, basketball players typically, but whatever. So they said you can now make money off of that, which means that you're a college athlete, you can get endorsements and sponsorships. Now, this opens up the door for all kinds of crooked activities, but instead of people slipping you envelopes of cash under the table, now they just slip you cash and say they're using your name, and you sign a couple autographs in our restaurant or whatever, car dealership, it doesn't matter, right? It's a great way for boosters. That's what really is going on. Boosters, people who donate to the school, who want a good team, football, basketball, whatever it might be, can give you money. And it's legal now. So cool, right? Okay, good for these college students. They don't have to go starving the rest of their time, because when I was in college and I played for a season on the golf team at San Diego State, we weren't allowed to have a job. Like, you can't have a job. So here I am, I'm living in my apartment, and typically I waited tables, and that's how I made money. So that's how I paid my rent and then bought my food and everything else I needed. And now I'm playing on the golf team, I can't have a job. So that's against the NCAA regulations. At least it was at the time. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much the same, because they say you can only practice, have this many hours of practice. So you have to take this many hours of classes to be eligible. So you can't have a job because we know you need to study and sleep. And so they're trying to, let's say, protect you, whatever. I'm like, how am I supposed to pay my rent? So I remember I'm sitting in class one day and I'm like, hey, cool, I made the golf team, but I can't work. Now what do I do? So I talked to a guy. He's like, I said, I need a job where no one knows I'm working. So he's like, hey, come talk to me. And I actually made like balloon animals that when I was on the golf team. So I'd go to these restaurants and you just work under the table, right? You don't get paid, you just make tips. So I would just show up and I'm working for another guy. They paid that guy to have us show up there. So I don't know how much he made, but we just made tips only. And it was all cash under the table. And here I'm making little puppy dogs and swords and, balloon hats for kids. And I hated it. But, you do what you got to do. I was able to work nights after it got dark and play on the golf team. So it was all good. Today, now you can just sign a deal or two. So Little John, who plays for the University of Arkansas, where Big John played, he, along with his dad, signed a deal at Hooters. So what are your thoughts on this? Teenage kid has a deal with Hooters. Now, he can go to Hooters. It's not like it's you have to be over 21. I think you can go and eat there and whatever, but it's synonymous with girls in skimpy outfits serving you food and drinks. And that's basically what it is. And I don't go there, but whatever. I know a lot of people do. Like my wife would not appreciate me going to Hooters after I played around the golf, right? Like, where'd you eat? What's this? Like, that's not cool. So whatever. So but hey, if you do that, you do your thing. I'm not going to judge you or nothing, but I'm not sure. How do you feel about a young kid like that getting a endorsement from Hooters? Like, how would that go over in your family? I don't know. Like, I'm not judging people here. I'm just wondering, like, how far will this go with this, the NIL, with the name, image, likeness that's available for these college athletes? Now, on one hand, I think it's good that they can make money. On the other hand, what's next? Like, are strip clubs going to be offering kids sponsorships, deals, so that they can promote their club? And you've got an 18-year-old who technically can get into these joints, right? And a famous football player, are they going to be getting these types of endorsements? And what would that do? I'm just concerned. Like, how far is this going to go? And what's this going to look like in the future? I think for Big John, hey, he's been doing that. Whatever. You're an adult. His son's an adult too, right? He's over the age of 18, so he can kind of do whatever he wants to. But you are representing a school at the same time. So technically, let's say you're representing a company, the University of Arkansas, or wherever you may go. At the same time, you're representing an establishment. What if those two things don't really kind of go well together? Then what happens? Who steps in? Who says what? Can they do anything? Or if you're representing some type of gentleman's club, if that's what it is, right? Is there a line? I don't know. It's interesting that this kind of stuff is happening. I want to know your thoughts. Comment below. All I know is golf is interesting, and things keep getting more and more interesting as we move on. Let me know what you think. See you guys soon.